tomorrow. On Wednesday, it's mostly sunny at 84. I'm Rick Schrepp, 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by...
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Helping a new driver get ready for their road test? Here's a convenient new way to make the most of your 50 hours of required practice driving time. The Road Ready Ohio app, available now at no cost to new drivers and their families. Road Ready Ohio keeps track of your driving experience together, providing feedback and safe driving tips. It even generates the documentation you need for the Ohio BMV. The Road Ready Ohio app, free to download in the Apple and Google App Stores.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places. What you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. From budget to the best. From desks to filing cabinets. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Larick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 Mac Oil Avenue in Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larick's, continuing the tradition.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You want hot takes?
No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up until the playoffs was true.
Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that.
To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished.
Getting better.
1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them.
There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kenner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right. We have a ton to get into here today. And, you know, where would the world of sports be without my Cleveland Browns? I mean, what in the hell would there be to talk about? Are we going to talk about the Bengals not playing any starters in a boring preseason game 2 over the weekend? I mean, Cleveland saved the day. The Browns have saved the day. The Browns have saved my day, your day. Everyone is just feeling it right now when it comes to football. Thanks to Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns and Todd Monken and Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, how about that? We welcome you back. It's the Justin Kenner Show here on a Monday, 937-518-1410. The phone lines are, well, they're opened up. If you want to call and get your spot in line. Steve from Springboro. All right. Steve from Springboro, this is your time to shine. I'm putting out the bat signal. If you want to, I saved one line open just for you. 937-518-1410. If there was ever a day to hear from Steve from Springboro, I think today's the day. But I think it's pretty easy what we're going to open up with here today, whether it's a national show, a local show, an Ohio show, any show outside of Ohio. I think everyone's talking about the Cleveland Browns and the buffoonery that is the organization when it comes to the quarterback position. Look, I didn't really know what to expect over the weekend in these preseason games. You know, like I told you, my philosophy on the preseason is always I look forward to the Hall of Fame game. I look forward to the first week of preseason. And then after that, all right, I've had my appetizer. I don't want, you ever go to a restaurant, they bring you a plate of an appetizer. They don't pick up the plate when you're done and bring you another appetizer. They bring the entree. That's what I'm ready for. I'm ready for the entree. You don't want to, I don't need, more than one appetizer. Just get me to the entree. I'm ready for the regular season. So I didn't really know what to make or what to expect of this past weekend with week 2 of the preseason. I do know this. It feels like we're getting closer and closer to kickoff, and we're still 3 weeks out. I mean, it's been already 3 weeks of camp, and we're only at the halfway point. There's still 3 weeks before we even get to the NFL season, and yet I feel like we're preparing for games this coming up weekend. The Cleveland Browns made headlines all weekend long. And, it had nothing to do with the game itself, or well, I guess you could say technically it kind of did if you care. Cleveland loses 31-7. It's preseason. I don't care. We were supposed to be talking about this game because it was a chance for Shedeur Sanders to go out there and put his game on display. We saw Deshaun Watson get the start in game 1 and against the Bears, and now you get to see Shedeur Sanders go up against the Buffalo Bills. And, at the first half, the storyline was Shedeur Sanders, 9 of 11, completing 9 of his 11 passes, 74 yards, threw a touchdown. He did throw an interception. Yes, he got sacked once, but it was a solid outing. Again, I think it was a good counter to what we saw from Deshaun Watson when he made his start in the preseason game 1. It looked like a QB battle. Deshaun looked solid in that first preseason game. Shedeur looked okay and solid in the second one. Again, it's preseason. Who cares? I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. But my philosophy on preseason also always has been the fact that, okay, if you play well in preseason, who cares? It's preseason. But if you play poorly in preseason, oh my gosh, that's your label now. If you're bad in a preseason game, you're bad. If you're good in a preseason game, it's just preseason. I don't write the rules. I'm just relaying the rules to you. That's just how it works. Right or wrong, fair or not, that's just the reality of it. So I thought the storyline was going to be Shedeur Sanders, solid, efficient, 74 yards, 9 of 11 passing, threw a touchdown. Like he looked the part, right? And then the second half starts, and I was surprised that they threw Deshaun Watson out there. I wasn't sure what to expect with Deshaun. He's been in the league a long time, but they throw Deshaun Watson out there. He goes out there, and he's not good. He gets 12 pass attempts, completes 5 of those 12 for 36 yards, throws an interception. There's one where he steps up in the pocket. It doesn't even go further than 5 yards. It almost looked like a glorified spike. He just drilled it into the ground. And he's met by, just raining boos coming down in Cleveland. Okay. The fans booing Deshaun Watson once again. I didn't process it, but it's the first time that Deshaun Watson had touched a football in Cleveland since he went out with the Achilles injury, a year and a half ago, 2 seasons ago. The fans picked up right where they left off when he left that game, of course, with the injury when they were raining boos down on him. Okay. And so that became the storyline of, oh my gosh, what's Cleveland going to do? Because Deshaun, there was nothing to pick on when it came to that first preseason game. He was solid in that first preseason game. There was nothing to really nitpick. He didn't lead them on a scoring drive, but a couple nice throws, good poise in the pocket, whatever. And that's what you want. No news is good news when you're talking about the preseason. We're not going to talk about you if you look good, but if you look poor, we're going to spend a lot of time on it. And that's what we ended up doing. That was the headline at first until he opened his mouth. Deshaun Watson doesn't do a lot of talking and hasn't done a lot of talking since, going out with that Achilles injury about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when he missed the rest of the 2024 season and then missed all of the 2025 season. Really hasn't done a lot of talking. But he was not happy about the boos that were raining down on him whenever he was out there. In fact, he was kind of confused as to why the boos would be coming down. Here's what Deshaun Watson had to say.
I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think it's a disrespectful thing.
What's disrespectful is being so delusional. And just, I think he feels so guilty about the mistakes he made off the field that he is so consumed by that he can't process just how silly he sounds. Like, this is where I'm going to rip you fans. And this isn't just Browns fans, it's sports fans in general, okay? Michael Vick drowned dogs. He killed dogs, okay? He's a pathetic human being, and I've never been a fan of Michael Vick, all right? He drowned innocent dogs, right? Had fans all over the league. All over ESPN, on doing TV hits, doing podcasts, all this stuff. He was forgiven. Why? Because, he was good at football when he came back. Ben Roethlisberger got forgiven. Why? Because he was good at football. Kobe Bryant, you kind of forgot about some of the stuff he was involved in Colorado early on in his career. And, because I think he was pretty solid at basketball. It's sad, but the reality is fans pretend like a lot of you. That's why when people start bashing the Browns and bashing Deshaun and all this, like, you're all hypocrites. You all pretend to feel like you're just morally superior to everybody. But honestly, as long as your athlete is good at the particular sport that he is playing for your team, it's not that you're okay with what they did, but you just overlook it. All right. And I've always had to put out this disclaimer that anytime I'm talking about Deshaun Watson, it's not that I'm signing off on any of the mistakes that he made or condoning it. It's, hey, he's a quarterback. He's playing on an Ohio team, and we got to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I always have to put that disclaimer out there because a lot of you boobs that listen try to say, oh, Kenner said something positive about Deshaun Watson. He must support what he did. You're an idiot. But that's just how this stuff goes, right? Like we're all willing. You have to be talented enough to overcome the noise. Are you talented enough to Michael Vick is a pathetic human being, but he was talented enough to overcome the fact that he drowned dogs like a pathetic human being that he is. That's just the reality of it. Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers fans, you all forgot about some of the horrible mistakes that he made that he was caught up in, but it's okay because he could throw a football. Kobe Bryant could put the ball in the hoop, and it's okay. We're going to, completely forget that because he's a legend of basketball. Deshaun Watson, the mistake that he made was not off the field. It was sucking at football. That's his problem. To sit here and say something stupid like, oh, man, it's personal. It had nothing to do with performance. No, it actually did. The Browns fans would have cheered you. They wanted to condone what you did off the field. They just wanted they wanted to cheer you. They were hoping, and I was hoping, and a lot of people were hoping, look, it's going to be noisy at first. I think the Haslams are counting on the fact that you bring in Deshaun Watson. It's going to have a lot of negative and, PR. It's going to be a lot of negative backlash. But once the games get rolling and the wins start coming in, the wins start taking over. Winning heals all. Right or wrong, this isn't me saying this as if it's my opinion. It's just the reality of it. Winning heals everything. It's not like Deshaun Watson's going out there throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns a game and still being, brained with booze walking off the field. He has been absolutely horrific on the football field. It's as simple as that, Deshaun. To say something as idiotic as that, as if like, oh yeah, it has nothing to do with his performance. They're just booing him for other reasons, which is disrespectful. Let me put it this way: if Browns fans really were booing you for that, hats off to Browns fans. But we know that's not the case. Sports fans aren't wired that way. Are you good enough to overcome the noise? Is your talent enough to overcome, any of the noise that comes from the mistakes you made off the field? And the answer to that question is easy. No, it hasn't been. If Deshaun Watson was the quarterback that he was in Houston, we probably don't hear about the off-the-field mistakes that he made, just like we didn't hear about the mistakes that Ben Roethlisberger made, just like we stopped hearing about the dogs that the piece of crap human being that Michael Vick is, that he drowned. We forgot. We didn't hear about that stuff anymore. We didn't hear about the Kobe Bryant stuff anymore. Why? Because it was simply watching a sports figure. But now we're watching a sports figure that is horrible, and now it's easy to go at him for all of this stuff. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. That's just how sports works. So Deshaun Watson is delusional. You are delusional. Opening your mouth made you sound stupider than what you already were for the mistakes you made off the field. I have nothing else to say about it. It can't get any worse. Oh, but it can, because Cleveland did something less than 24 hours later after all of this, or a little over 24 hours, I should say. But I thought it was interesting. There was a follow-up question. Deshaun Watson said, he did end up saying, okay, that, he was upset that he feels like the boos are coming and that it's personal, okay, that it is personal and that it has nothing to do with his performance. I don't know who the reporter was, but kudos to the reporter for the follow-up question, because the follow-up question was, well, Deshaun, don't you think that if you were playing better, that you wouldn't be getting booed?
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with, what does that have to do with anything about performance?
It has everything to do with your performance. You're horrible. You've been absolutely horrible since coming to Cleveland. You were a top 5 quarterback when you were in Houston. All right. You missed a year and a half due to suspension and injuries, and the team just keeping you away while they try to figure out what to do with you. Cleveland gives up they mortgage the future to get you. And no one in their right mind thought that a quarterback in his prime, in his mid-20s, who was a top 5 quarterback at his previous stop, would just all of a sudden forget how to play football. But that's what happened. Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football. Can't play football. Doesn't look like he's worth a dime that the Browns spent on him, even though the Browns thought that and by the way, it wasn't just Cleveland. It was Atlanta. It was Pittsburgh. It was Carolina. It was New Orleans. It was Tampa. There was a lot of teams that were kicking the tires, that were in conversations to try to get Deshaun Watson. There was a lot of teams in the league that looked at Deshaun and said, well, we would like a chance to get a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. and they all lucked out. And of course, the one time that the Browns thought they got their hands on a good quality quarterback, he looked like just like all the other Browns quarterbacks when it's all said and done. Deshaun's delusional to sit there and say that, I go down with my injury and they're booing me. What does that have to do with my performance? Everything. It has everything to do with your performance or lack thereof, your lack of availability, your lack of the ability to throw the damn football, your lack of an ability to read the freaking room, your lack of ability to keep your hands to your damn self. There's so much lack of everything when it comes to Deshaun Watson. So many people pulled for Deshaun Watson. And this idea, and like, this is why I disagree with everyone saying that the Browns fans are morally outraged or disgusted by this human. Stop it. Browns fans couldn't wait to go to the first home game, and he was met with tons of cheers because everyone thought that they were about to cheer a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. And then he looked like every other Browns quarterback. And then guess what? Oh, now we're morally outraged. Browns fans who line up in that line, you're a hypocrite. Sports fans who act like you would not have done, like cheered them on like Browns fans, you're a hypocrite too. You're a hypocrite too. All right. Every single sports fan out there is a hypocrite when it comes to this stuff. We've seen so many examples of it. Deshaun Watson. The sad thing is you're right. The sad thing is you're wrong. You weren't booed for the mistakes off the field. You were booed for all the mistakes you made on the field. It's as simple as that. It's not, it's crazy. I know. I'm not saying it's okay, but the reality is that's how this stuff works. That's how this stuff works. You were booed for your lack of performance on the field. It's as simple as that. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. I can't breathe, so I'm going to reset. My fat ass can't even talk about sports. My goodness, I'm exhausted, right? We got a lot to get into today. Week 1 of the high school football season kicked off. We're going to highlight our top 5 individual performers from week 1 here in the Miami Valley. Excited to highlight some of those individuals coming up for you here later on in the show. But we heard a couple of clips of Deshaun Watson in the post game after the preseason game on Saturday, but he addressed the media earlier today. And, oh, yeah, Cleveland also wasted no time in naming a starter for this season. You already know who that starter is, but what are we doing, Cleveland? You took something that was bad and you made it worse. More on that when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. I'm going to go catch my breath. We'll be right back.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at StraightTalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments, clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
We got a sauce snob to review Lee's new famous and Fiesta wraps. He was pretty skeptical, saying things like, "Gee, more chicken wraps? Lucky me." Then he tasted the Fiesta wrap and started talking about how it was a suddenly spicy journey filled with chicken, chipotle ranch, Texas Pete dust, and more, whose destination is pure culinary elation. Shame he was too embarrassed to tell you about it himself. The new Fiesta wrap and famous wrap, only at Lee's. Famous for a reason.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, so some individual on YouTube named Matt Music with a bunch of ones after. Usually the biggest trolls on social media always have fake names. No, it's all aliases. It's just an excuse to, act like a buffoon on social media, and that's what this individual has done. Matt Music says, this guy, talking about me, over-evaluates everything Burrow says in a presser, but yet roots for Watson, who says way, way, way dumber blank. Well, dumb blank. Actually, I'm really questioning how intelligent you are because I'm sitting here and I haven't defended Watson at all. What are you talking about? I mean, my goodness. Put the plastic scissors down and pay attention for a little bit. I'm trying to tell you right now, I ain't defending Watson at all. There's nothing about Watson that I'm defending. Not one little bit. I actually thought what he said was stupid. I said that. I have no clue. And as far as over-evaluating what Joe Burrow says, stop it. If you're just one of those crybaby Bengals fans that's so sensitive, I really shouldn't even have acknowledged your comment to begin with, because the bottom line is you clearly don't understand football or understand anything I'm saying because you're not a football fan. You've made that very evident by what you just said right there. You're a Burrow fan, and there's a big difference, and we'll talk about that more coming up later on. Still out of breath, by the way. Still out of breath. Chad Kinser, what up, Chad? Chad's on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He says, regardless of what fans want, Cleveland had to go with Watson just because of his contract. Now, if he ends up getting benched, then cut ties and take the loss. I've heard this a lot today, Chad. I couldn't disagree with that more. I have no clue. This is the thing that's interesting. The money that you gave Deshaun Watson is fully guaranteed, and it's fully guaranteed whether he's good or whether he's bad, whether he plays or whether he sits. So I have no clue why, we've given him all this money. He has to play. Why? Why does he have to play? If he's not the better quarterback, why does he have to play? And by the way, I don't know if he is the better quarterback. I don't know if Shador is the better quarterback of the two. I thought Shador looked solid over the weekend. If you're talking about how he looked versus how Deshaun in the second half looked, well, yeah, Shador's looked better, but all reports coming out of camp was that Deshaun has been the more consistent, better quarterback. I still don't think Shador's start looked better than Deshaun's the previous week, but again, we're talking about someone that's 5'7" and 5'5" and arguing over who's taller. I mean, neither one of these quarterbacks is tall, right? Like neither one of these quarterbacks is good. So I don't understand. So I get what you're saying, Chad, because I hear that a lot, and I think we hear things and we just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They're not gonna, but like at the same time, his money's fully guaranteed. So he's going to get Deshaun's going to get that money whether he's good or not. So I don't understand why you have to, if you know that you just have to accept your loss, give him the money, and there you go. The other thing you cannot do if you're the Cleveland Browns is you can't cut him. You cannot cut Deshaun Watson. You cannot cut him. If you cut him, it's like an $86 million cap hit next year. The record for a cap hit, I think, is Tua with the Dolphins is like 50 or 56, and I think that was this season. So, and I forgot what the cap is. I think it's 230. So you were talking about a team that would have to construct a roster with $150 million. Like, you can't do that. And I'm not saying it's a small cap hit if you keep him on the roster, but it is smaller. They would have to keep him on the roster through past the June 1st cut deadline next year of 27. So he's a Brown, and he's going to be on this team this year. And I get I get what you're saying, Chad, about, okay, well, they owe him all this money. You have to start him. I completely disagree. You have to pay him no matter what. So you get to pick the scenario of how you want to pay. Do you want to pay him to play and be bad, or do you want to pay him to be bad and sit in the corner and mind his business? I'd rather him sit in the corner and mind his business if that's the case. What I think people are failing to realize here is, I think, well, everyone is sitting here looking at Shedeur saying, oh, Shedeur, he should be the guy. He's being screwed here. How bad does Shedeur have to be in practice for the Browns to go this route with Deshaun? That's what I'm curious about. Like, we knew the QB situation in Cleveland was bad, but I mean, it's way worse than I thought. If you're forcing this quarterback down the throats of Browns fans, like, they're willing to deal with this PR nightmare than to start Shedeur. How bad is Shedeur? So I don't know. Like I said, if this was the Kevin Stefanski coaching staff doing this, it's like, man, maybe Kevin Stefanski really does hate Shedeur. But this is a completely different coaching staff that has come in and looked at Shedeur and said, I think we're going to go with this guy that can't even throw the ball 5 yards down the field. That's kind of how I'm looking at it at the end of the day. So, is what it is. Let's see. I'm trying to go down through these and see what it is. Matt says, smart ownership would admit their mistake, cut Watson and move on, quit doubling down on a dumb mistake. A smart ownership group would, yes. I don't think that the Haslams are the smartest owners in football, but it would also be, you don't follow up a dumb decision with a dumber decision, and cutting Deshaun Watson would give you an $86 million cap hit next year. That's why he's not going to be cut. Like, and I guess there's a different way of looking at this too. And Matt, welcome back to the conversation. Glad we don't have to be adversarial this whole time. I do appreciate you staying in and watching even after I slung an insult at you after you insulted me, but we're good here. Okay. The thing is, there's two ways of looking at this. Like, if you look at Cleveland's roster, okay, Shedeur, second-year guy. Next year will be a third-year guy, or you're going to draft a rookie quarterback, right? All your, Boston and Concepcion will be second-year guys next year. So you're not paying them. You're not going, you're going to be paying your rookie quarterback peanuts. You're going to be paying your receivers peanuts. Quinshawn Judkins will be on a rookie deal. Sampson on a rookie deal. Harold Fannin Jr. on a rookie deal. You just gave a large extension to, obviously, Denzel Ward, but you probably are trading Denzel Ward after this year would be my guess. I don't know how much money, I could see them with all their draft picks next year, maybe leaning into the defense and maybe unloading some of the expensive defensive pieces and starting to rebuild the defense over the next couple of years. So, by the way, this is a very long process that I think Cleveland is just, I don't know what to make of it. My thing is this: you can't cut Deshaun. But just because you can't cut Deshaun Watson doesn't mean that you have to start him. I think it was a stupid move of the Browns to go this route as far as that's concerned. Nonetheless, continuing to go down this, I'm trying to make sure I get to as many of these as possible. Matthew Gaines. What up? Matthew Gaines on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page says, after almost 5 decades of stupidity, they have finally beaten the give a damn out of me. I'm done with this clown show of a team. Every report that's come out has said that Deshaun has looked like the better quarterback between him and Shedeur. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, this is a bad situation for Cleveland. No matter which route they go, you like Shedeur because you like the last name, and he has he smiles and he's a good personality, but we weren't feeling all warm and fuzzy about Shedeur over the final couple games of last year. Now, I know Cleveland won the last 2 games of last year, but they did that in spite of him. He didn't look good against Cleveland. He didn't look good against Pittsburgh. He didn't look good against Cincinnati. I mean, they could have gone a completely different quarterback route. And by the way, I will take Deshaun or Shedeur over having to watch another freaking quarter of Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel, as bad as Deshaun can be and as bad as Shedeur at times was last year, I can't watch another second of Dillon Gabriel. I every time I see Dillon Gabriel, I think of Kevin Stefanski and I get angry. I don't want to think of Kevin Stefanski. I don't want to think of Dillon Gabriel. I wanted the last memory of Dillon Gabriel for me was when I went to the Rose Bowl a year and a half ago and watched him and Oregon just get their arses kicked. That was what I wanted the last memory of Dillon Gabriel to be. I don't want to see Dillon Gabriel. So I'll take either of these two. But both of these are really aren't good options. So I'll get back into the comments more and weigh in on more of your guys' thoughts coming up. 937-518-1410. The phone lines are open. You can call in and jump in on the conversation that way. I did think it was interesting. So here's the deal. So Cleveland over the weekend, if you're just joining us, all reaction to, of course, the Cleveland Browns, QB situation, right? So was it Friday, Saturday? Was it Saturday, Sunday? It was Saturday. Cleveland preseason game. They lose 31-7. Who cares? It's preseason. Shador gets the start, delayed to the game because of the rain delay, all that stuff. He completes 9 of 11 passes, 74 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And I thought that's what we'd be talking about today, just evaluating Shador's start and comparing it to Deshaun's start, and then looking ahead to the preseason game 3 coming up this weekend. And it has been really nothing about on the field. It's just been about the comments made from Deshaun Watson in the post game, basically calling out the Cleveland Browns fans for booing him. And he was down on the field injured with tearing his Achilles a year and a half ago, questioning how booing him and how it doesn't have anything to do with his performance, that he feels it's personal. I get why you feel it's personal. It's your guilt kicking in. Like, you feel guilty for the mistakes you've made off the field, and now you think that everyone is booing you for that, when we've seen throughout professional sports, and I'm not condoning it, I'm not saying it's right, but if you look around professional sports, we've seen guys who have made very heinous mistakes similar to Deshaun Watson, and yet because they were still really good at sports, they got forgiven publicly. You know what I mean? Like, it's not right. I don't think it's right at all. But every time I see people cheer for Michael Vick or talk positively about Michael Vick, it makes my stomach turn. Go read the book about what Michael Vick did to innocent dogs, drowning them because they weren't, because they lost in the dogfight. Like the gross stuff that disgusting human being did. And yet everyone cheered him because when he came back, he was, good again and good in the NFL, was getting to the playoffs and was, still showing electric, highlights and all this stuff, right? Kobe Bryant. Right. We know what, he turned his career around because he was great. And you look at Ben Roethlisberger and you look at Tiger Woods, and the list goes on and on. You can make horrific mistakes off the field, off the court, off the ice, off the course, as long as you're good at sports. And if you make horrific mistakes off the field, off the court, off the ice, off the course, and you're not good at sports, now you're going to be labeled for the mistakes that you made. It's not right. It's not fair, but that's just how it goes. Right. And I'm not saying it's not right, it's not fair for the athlete. I'm just saying it's not right, not fair for across the board. I do think it's very, very crappy. But this is why when people say, that I tune into sports for sports and sports only, they don't tune into sports for politics and everything else. I believe people when they say that, because they let what you do on the field dictate how you view them, not who you vote for. All right. Not your politics, not what food you like, not what razor you endorse, not what phone you endorse. Not what shaving cream you endorse. We don't care about any of that. We care. Can you help our football team win? And Deshaun Watson just can't help your football team win. It's as simple as that. So for Deshaun to come out and say that it has nothing to do with his performance, he is embarrassingly wrong. As embarrassingly bad as he looks on the field, he is equally as embarrassingly wrong about that take. It's insane. Now, Deshaun Watson, after having more than 24 hours to sit on it, addressed the media for the first time earlier today and apologized for those comments, calling out Browns fans, calling it disrespectful for them booing him when he was out injured with the Achilles injury.
First off, I want to address the comments from Saturday after the game. I think just, human nature, just myself being very emotional, putting a lot of time these last 2 years to, get back and, spend time in this facility, in the city, meeting a lot of different people in the community. I thought I was going to get, a little different response, but, I think, my emotions got the best of me, and, my comments wasn't intending to go at any of the fans around in the city, because there's been a lot of great fans that have been supporting me. And I know the frustration this organization have put, a lot of investment in coming, to get me back in 22, and things haven't been going the right direction that we thought it was. A lot of injuries, a lot of time off, and not putting the best football and my foot forward. So again, just, I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that, and moving forward, I just want to focus on football.
Man. Just think how different things would be today if that clip right there was his response on Saturday. But on Saturday, that was his true raw emotions and feelings. And that right there was a well-scripted, thought-out plan of attack by his PR team. Well done. Said all the right things. I just can't believe how, athletes live in a bubble that we will never understand. They make more money than we ever will. They live in a different world than we do. Their egos are unbelievable, and we can't match it. A lot of us have egos, but none of us have a Deshaun Watson ego to do what he's done off the field, be as bad as he is on the field, and be surprised that he is booed. I can't fathom that level of delusion. You know what I mean? I think this is not Kenner, the Browns fan or anything. This is just in general about any athlete. I don't think there has been any more of a delusional athlete out there than Deshaun Watson. How could he be so confused as to why he and how he is getting booed? It doesn't make any sense to make the mistakes that he's made off the field, to come to Cleveland as the savior, and to make all the money that he makes, and to be the reason that this team can't go out and aggressively build the roster even more. And the fact that this team can't compete, can't win, they can't do anything because of him. They can't do anything because of him because he's always off the field, and then they can't do anything with him on the field. It is insane how delusional a Deshaun Watson and professional athletes, some of them, can be. It is insane to me. I like that soundbite. If that soundbite came after Saturday, I would have viewed it completely different. Hey, he didn't look good in that preseason game, but he's being put out there with third stringers. I know he's going up against them, but it's hard to throw to, fifth string wide receivers and 12th string, being 12th string offensive lineman. I get it. That's tough. And if, he had a rough go of it. And then in the post game, just saying, hey, look, got met with some boos, and I understand it. We haven't, since arriving here, we haven't accomplished what we had hoped to accomplish since I arrived here. And I'm looking forward for an opportunity to go out there and to prove people wrong. Doesn't mean that you would be happy with it. Doesn't mean that the boos would stop, but we would kind of move on to the next headline, to the next storyline. We'd probably found something that Shedeur said in the post game, and we'd be dissecting that today. So yeah, I like the clip, but that was just PR jargon. I don't really care. It is what it is at the end of the day. So look, when it's all said and done, I thought it was interesting, earlier today, Deshaun Watson being named Cleveland's starting quarterback for week 1 at Jacksonville. And that's been basically all that anyone has talked about all day today, was the sound bites from the post game on Saturday, and for Cleveland to come out and name him the starter. Here's the problem I have. Okay. This is going to sound silly. I don't mind Deshaun being the starting quarterback because your options are between him and Shedeur. You guys want to convince yourselves that Shedeur is the guy, but all we've heard out of camp is that Deshaun has been better than Shedeur. No reports out of camp have come out to say that Deshaun has been good. They've just come out to say Deshaun's been the better of the two. So I'm not trying to overhype this and say that Deshaun's good. I'm just saying I don't have a problem with it because they've been teasing for a while now. I mean, Deshaun's been getting all the first-team reps, or the majority of first-team reps. He got the first start in the first preseason game with all the ones. Shedeur did not, right? There was a comment that was made this past weekend, or this past week leading into it, where, the head coach comes out and says, hey, we just think it's fair to give Shedeur a start as well. That didn't sound like a coach that is trying to start him to see exactly what he can do out there. It's just, well, it's only fair that we give him a start like we gave Deshaun a start. Deshaun was always going to be named the starter. The problem I have with it is not that they named Deshaun the starter. It's why now, in this blank storm that is going on right now, after those comments, they could have come out today and said, after the second preseason game and some of the practices, we need to see a little more. We're going to hold off on our announcement of who our starting quarterback is. The teams don't play for 3 weeks. Why did they have to announce it today? Why couldn't someone in that organization reach out to Todd Monken and say, I know you wanted to name your quarterback today. I know you wanted to name Deshaun the quarterback today. And by the way, Deshaun was going to be named the quarterback no matter what. I think the biggest lie ever told is that there was a legit QB competition. I don't think that was the case at all. I think it was always going to be Deshaun. I'm sitting back and I'm listening to all this, and I'm just like, yeah, the biggest mistake Cleveland made, all right, it was not naming Deshaun the starter. It's when they named him. Because you guys are going to be mad about Deshaun being named the starter no matter what. And naming Shedeur the starter still doesn't mean that would have been the right answer either. It doesn't sound like he's coming along and progressing either. So I don't know what to make of that. Who knows? Why did Cleveland have to announce him as the starter today? With the crap storm that was coming out of the weekend, they should have let him address the media today, diffuse it with that PR written piece, let people dissect that, go into the week. I wouldn't play Shador or Deshaun in the final preseason game. Throw Dylan Gabriel out there, throw Talon out there, do whatever you got to do, and let it diffuse for a little bit, and then name your starter after the final preseason game. And then from there, yes, there would be a lot of negativity about Deshaun, but it wouldn't have the fuel and the vitriol that it is just being met with because of the stupid comments he made on Saturday. The biggest mistake Cleveland made was not naming him the quarterback. It's when they named him the quarterback. I think it's been a PR nightmare. Nonetheless, David Mann, I hope you're well, sir. David Mann says, hello, Kenner. Watson's not delusional to the fact of why he's getting booed by Browns fans. He's just desperately, foolishly wanting people to magically forget about it so that he could free his own self-guilt about it all. Yeah, I mean, if you're just tuning in, that's David's response to my comments earlier about I can't believe that Deshaun Watson, with the mistakes that he's made off the field, like that, for him to sit there and think that, the mistakes he's made off the field and the mistakes that he's made on the field, and that he's just to come out and address the media and say he was surprised and taken back by the fans' reaction to him. That's insane. I can't believe he actually came out and said that. But it is what it is. All right. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Let's go to Jack. Jack, thanks for holding. You're on live, sir.
How you doing?
Jack, I'm doing fine. How are you? You're a Browns fan, I'm assuming, correct?
Oh, yeah. And I think you hit it on the head. If they were going to pick, they should have waited a day or so, or even after that third one.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's now we got everything except a quarterback, Justin.
I mean, look, I like the receivers. I like the running backs. I don't love the offensive line, but it's better than last year. And I don't love, I'm not going to enjoy not seeing Myles Garrett line up out there every game. But, I do like the pieces that are still on this defense. This is on a good season. This is a good team on a good season, if that makes sense. But I think that the range of the floor and the ceiling is so wide. The gap between the floor and the ceiling is so wide for this team. I have no clue what to make of it, but I do know I'm very, very interested in how this team's going to look in week 1 at Jacksonville with Deshaun as the starting quarterback.
Now, I know you're probably closer to it, Justin. What about our linebacker? What kind of injuries did he have? Did you ever find out?
They came out today and just said they were a little banged up in practice, that was just, that's just giving guys, giving them rest throughout the preseason. Look, I'm not a preseason guy. I think that these guys put in a lot of time and work during the joint practices and during practice itself. I don't like these glorified scrimmages that are preseason games. I didn't mind not seeing Schweizinger and those guys out there, but they did come out today and said it's nothing serious. It was just about load management with the second preseason game, and I wouldn't expect to see them in the third and final one either.
Yeah, okay. Because, he really makes last year, he was the diamond in the rough. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. Look, the Browns have so much young talent. They had a rookie that led them in passing, a rookie that led them in receiving, a rookie that led them in rushing last year, and a rookie that led them in tackling. So a lot of youth and a lot of talented youth on this roster, but we'll see what ultimately happens as they continue to build heading into year 2. But Deshaun's going to make it interesting. He's the linchpin in all of this. We'll see what happens.
Well, now, Deshaun, he hadn't showed anything since, and I told somebody, if I was Haslam, I would have went after him for breaking his contract. And I don't know if I heard it on your show or not. Remember after his first Achilles tendon?
Yeah.
And then he went down to Florida and, he didn't rehab properly, and supposedly he was out on a dance floor. Did you hear that story?
I don't know if it was out on a dance floor. I know there was at the time, or everyone's talking about it. He posted a video of him and his now wife pulled over on the side of the road, and they're just doing a little TikTok dance video, and him doing a lot of movements on his leg that at that point in his, rehabbing that he should not have been doing. So, of course, that story was blown up and rightfully so, especially because there was some issues with the recovery after that. Not saying it's because of that, but optics aren't good for it. And he hasn't been very keen on optics throughout this whole thing. So, but yeah.
They could, I think if they could have got out of the contract, but they chose not to do it.
I mean, it's a fully guaranteed contract. They weren't going to get out of anything. And for them to avoid the $86 million cap hit for next year, he has to remain on the roster from now and through the June 1st cuts of next year. So that's why everyone out there that's saying, well, they have, that they need to cut him. They're not going to cut him. And I think it's easier to start the veteran and replace the veteran with the younger quarterback if the season starts to get off the rails a little bit. But 2 games on the road against 2 potential playoff teams, that train could be off the tracks less than a month into the start of the season. So we'll see. 2 games on the road. And then what's very interesting is Deshaun against Baker Mayfield in week 2. That's the one I'm really excited about.
Well, it is what it is. And I appreciate talking to you. And, hey, go Dogs.
Yeah, I'll wait for a better week to say that, but I appreciate you, man. Take care, Jack.
Hi.
937-518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. But yeah, there you go. Cleveland, you can't get out of your own way. I wasn't upset when I saw that Deshaun was named the quarterback because I thought all along he was going to be named the starter. What I was annoyed with was the timing. With 3 weeks to go, today was not a deadline. You didn't have to name a starter today. So naming him the starter today after all the chaos from the press conference over the weekend, they could have come out and said, today was the plan to announce the starting quarterback, but we're going to use this time to reevaluate the situation and spend more time in practice and with the preseason game remaining, using all of these resources available to us to determine the best starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. That's how you should have handled it. But coming out at the peak of the noise of everything and just slapping his name as the starter, it's just you threw gasoline on the fire. I mean, what are we doing? Like, everyone's mad that it's Deshaun. I'm not, because I just don't think there was a good option. A lot of you feel like Shedeur would be the better option. Every report coming out of camp is that Deshaun's been the better quarterback. Deshaun's been the better quarterback of the 2. I don't care that he's been named the starter. I just would not have named it today in the heat of all the turmoil. And yeah. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. We'll be right back.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Grammy Award-winning Brothers Osborne, live in Dayton, Ohio for one night only. Friday, August 28th at Rose Music Center at the Heights. I hope you find the storm that you were chasing. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com in the Rose Music Center box office. Don't miss Brothers Osborne live in concert at Rose Music Center on Friday, August 28th.
From the Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office, I'm Shannon Crabtree. Join us for Clerk Mike Foley's award-winning Connecting with the Community speaker series, connecting citizens to local leaders. Join us on Tuesday, September 15th, when our most popular event returns, featuring 3 dynamic leaders leading a panel discussion on the mental health of African American males. That's Connecting with the Community from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Employment Opportunity Center in the Westtown Shopping Center on West 3rd Street in Dayton. Another example of how Clerk Mike Foley is bringing the courthouse to you.
Reese Davis here. When the pressure's on, you find out who's ready and who's not. Same goes for the job site. The work doesn't slow down when conditions get tough, and you need tools that can finish strong.
That's why DeWalt tests its tools under real-world conditions that push even the best to their limit. Only then does a tool earn the DeWalt badge. They're built to perform again and again, like they did on the first use. DeWalt, guaranteed tough. Available at the Home Depot. Outdoers get more done.
Polking Bowling Centers are celebrating 75 years of family fun. Come celebrate with them August 31st through September 6th with 75 cents off all games of bowling and shoe rentals. Plus, check out their 75th anniversary package featuring a large pizza, a pitcher of soda, and 2 hours of bowling for up to 6 people. Let the 75 years of good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ohio's public school educators are excited to welcome students back this school year to inspire their creativity, spark their curiosity, and help every child reach their full potential in school and beyond. That's why Ohio Education Association members are standing together to advocate for the support and resources our students need to succeed. Please stand with us so every child gets the great public education they deserve. Because in Ohio, public education matters.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefonte, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Honey, did you hear the auction at Brown's Nursery's coming up?
We need a shade tree and some shrubs. I think we should go.
There's not a better time to buy. Brown's auction is a great way to save money. It's only once a year. Let's do it.
Great. When is it?
It's Saturday, September 12th. It's always the second Saturday in September.
A. Brown & Sons has great high-quality products. I'm excited.
Don't miss the annual stock reduction auction of high-quality nursery stock at A. Brown & Sons Nursery. Save hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The auction starts promptly at 7:19 a.m. on Saturday, September 12th, rain or shine. Come out and bid anytime during the day. 4 auction rings run all day. Brown's has a huge inventory of shade trees, shrubs, evergreens, ornamentals, and perennials. They're easy to find, just a half mile north of Phillipsburg on State Route 49, 4 miles north of I-70, exit 24. Visit brownsnursery.com and click on the auction link for all the details.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Still no word yet from Steve from Springboro. These are the days I really look forward to hearing from Steve from Springboro. Steve from Springboro, if you're out there, I'm throwing out the bat signal. Call in. I got your Hulk Hogan music all lined up, ready to go. Still no word from Steve, nonetheless. But we welcome you back again. It's the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. With all this stuff, the Browns, naming Deshaun Watson the starting quarterback today, it just felt like, oh, man, we have to name a starting quarterback today. The season doesn't kick off until, September 13th? I mean, it's right now the 24th. You still have about 3 weeks until the season kicks off. That's my biggest complaint and my biggest problem with all this is the fact my biggest problem with all of this is the fact that they forced it today. If he doesn't say those things in the post-game Saturday, I I don't think I think you're still going to have people complaining and it's going to be, whatever. But I think everyone had kind of anticipated Deshaun to be named the starter. But then I think everyone had anticipated that the final nail in the Deshaun coffin was once he made those comments in the post game. So we'll see what ends up happening when it's all said and done. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. High school football over the weekend. We'll talk about that here in a second. Ryan Strong reached out on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Are you still doing morning tailgate shows? And if so, where's week 1 going to be? So the Sunday morning tailgate show, we've been doing that since, I want to say, we've been doing the show at Frickers every Sunday morning for about 10 plus years, different variations of it. Obviously, you go back to Bucknuts doing the show with them for as long as we did, and then transitioning to more of an NFL college football reaction show as a whole. But myself and Keith Byers every Sunday morning will be at the Frickers in Miamisburg. The Frickers in Miamisburg every Sunday morning from 11 to 1. We will kick that off on the very first Sunday of the NFL season. So keep that in mind. That's still a few weeks away, 3 weeks away, as we were just discussing. But yes, last year we did like a rotation. We will be stationary. We will be at the Miamisburg location every Sunday from week 1 all the way through Super Bowl Sunday. Myself and Keith Byers, and we'll be reacting, of course, to college football Saturday, and then getting you set for that day's slate of NFL games. And that day is going to be fun. Talking about the Browns and the Jaguars, and then of course the Bengals, kicking off the season in a very highly anticipated matchup against Tampa. And that's going to be a 1 o'clock kickoff as well. So both the Browns and the Bengals both kick off at 1 o'clock that day. The Bengals and Buccaneers a 1 o'clock kickoff, and Browns and Jaguars a 1 o'clock kickoff. And for those of you degenerates who really care, Cincinnati is a 3.5 point favorite as we sit here right now. Cleveland is a 7.5 point dog. As far as that goes. But yeah, we'll be excited for that to kick off the season on Sunday, September 13th, the Sunday morning tailgate show at Frickers, week 1, all the way through Super Bowl Sunday. So there you have it. And I always appreciate those who do make the time to come out. Last, we tried to rotate it around a few times. Not a few times. We, at a different, every Sunday we were at a different Frickers location. We did that the last couple of years. Got a chance to meet different listeners in different parts of the Miami Valley. But we're going to keep it at the Miamisburg location. And we like the patio out there. I like to, we like to stay out on that patio as deep into the winter as we can. As far as now, to be fair, Keith could be sitting out there and in the teens, and he's fine. Like, it could be 16 degrees. He's fine. I'm like, the listeners aren't going to sit out here with us, Keith. We need to go inside, but we just like smoking our cigars out there. So if you're a cigar smoker, come on out and hang out with us, smoke some cigars, talk NFL. And then we always hang around after and watch some of the 1 p.m. games. And we'll be excited about that week because Browns and Bengals both kick off at 1. This is what I like about the Bengals, missing the playoffs the last 3 years as well. Kev says, except for when Kev is co-hosting. Kev's not a fan of the cigars. He don't like the cigars. All right. He don't like the cigar smoke. And there's something about when KB lights a cigar, when I'm sitting next to him, his cigar smoke seems to go away from us. But for whatever reason, if you're ever sitting around somebody that does not like the smell of the cigar smoke, it just always seems to, it's like at a campfire, right? Like, it always just seems to follow that one person. Kev is always the person that cigar smoke follows. Welcome back, Kev. You should be sleeping. Well, Mr. World Traveler getting back from Vegas at 5 a.m. this morning. Look at him. But yes, that show is coming back September 13th. That was a very, very long-winded answer. And Kev don't like the cold either. Yes, that's what Shaw said. There you go. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by our friends over at Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. It's been an active show today. All reaction to the Deshaun Watson stuff. Like I said, Deshaun Watson I have no problem with him being upset about the fans booing him. No player wants to have their home fans booing you. But where I had the disconnect with him on is whenever he addressed the media and then had the nerve to say that, we all know that it's personal, has nothing to do with his performance on the field.
I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows it has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think it's a disrespectful thing.
I cannot disagree with him more. I think it has everything to do with his performance, his horrible, horrific performance. He's never available. And when he is available, the performance is horrible. So, I know there's a lot of people out there. I've been against this from the very beginning. How could you, cheer for a man like that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we have seen too many examples throughout the history of sports where said athlete or celebrity, let's just say athletes in this situation, said athlete does a horrific thing off the field, off the court, off the ice, off the course, right? And, we look at them and say, well, there's no coming back from that. But then they do come back and they're really, really good. And then you notice after a couple years goes by, you kind of forget about it. You think about Kobe Bryant's career, one of my all-time favorite NBA players. I mean, very caught up in a very similar situation. Now, his count was a little bit lower than old Deshaun Watson's over here, right? But because he was so good at basketball, everyone overlooked it. Ben Roethlisberger, because he was so good at football, I mean, not everyone, but his fan base especially overlooked it. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Same thing with that horrible human being, Michael Vick, who drowned innocent dogs, right? That's just these guys, everyone overlooked their horrific things that they did away from their respective sports. Deshaun Watson, the only difference between him and them is he made horrific mistakes too, just like they did, but they all came back and were really good at their sport. He came back and has just been complete butt. He's been horrible. It's as simple as that. And I'm not saying that that's the right way to view it, but that's what's happening. That's how this works. So for him to say that has nothing to do with his performance, that it's just personal, I think that's his guilt talking. I think he feels guilty about what he has done, and that's how he views himself, through the prism of his guilt, and he thinks that that's how everyone's looking at him, when in reality, if the guy, as a quarterback making fully guaranteed money, could just step in a pocket and complete a pass, I think a lot of people, they don't condone what you did, but they kind of forget about what you did. So simple as that. I'm not signing off or saying it's okay what he did. But we all know how sports works. If you make horrible mistakes off the floor, but you're really good on the floor, you kind of forget about it. Right or wrong. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday, 937-518-1410. How about over the weekend? I mean, by the way, NFL's 3 weeks away. College football a week from this Saturday. I mean, we are getting closer and closer. Pretty jacked about that. So we had high school football this week, college football next week, and the NFL in a couple weeks, and then the whole, the football calendars all overlap. Pretty excited about that. But from week one, every week, we're going to highlight our top five performers from that week in high school football. And, for those of you who are able who are watching right now, let me make sure that people can actually see this. After using StreamYard for as long as I have, you would think that I would know how to use this. There you go. How about Stebbins? All right. Stebbins gets a 1-0 start on the season, knocking off Carroll 41-6. And Devin McCormick, their quarterback, completes 11 of 22 of his passes for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, through the air. And then, he just would go on to rush for another 172 yards on the ground and scored 3 touchdowns on the ground. 5 total touchdowns, 216 yards through the air, 172 yards on the ground. I mean, Stebbins just punched Carroll in the mouth, and it was all behind the arm and the legs of Stebbins' quarterback, Devin McCormick. And a lot of times when you have a quarterback that has a performance like that, he has to have someone to throw the football to, correct? How about, Marcel Jefferson, the receiver for Stebbins, 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns in Stebbins' 41-6 win over Carroll. So congratulations to Stebbins in a dominant performance. But how about those two? Devin McCormick, the quarterback, quite a 1-2 punch there with him and Marcel Jefferson at the end of the day. Wayne, so much is being made about the absence of, Brown and not having the future Buckeye commit for the first couple of weeks as he's out due to suspension. Right? Jameer Brown to miss, the first 2 games of the season for Wayne for rules violations. Well, he was out. Now, Wayne did not win their week 1 matchup, obviously, but they did have another receiver step up. And my goodness, how scary is Wayne going to be if you're getting performances like this from a guy without, Jameer Brown available? What happens when you get both of these cats on the field at the same time? But how about James Dyer, the fourth? 5 catches, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wayne lost their season opener on the road at Fairfield, 35-25. But if you're going to get performances like that from James Dyer, the fourth, and with Jameer Brown coming back in a couple of weeks, Wayne's offense, that's going to be scary. Nonetheless, we do have Wayne on the schedule for our high school football game of the week coming up this Friday night. We'll have more on that later on in the show. Coming in at number 4 on our high school top performers list from this past week in high school football, week 1 action here in the Miami Valley. We talked about it on Friday, but Drew Cripps, the running back for Alter. I mean, he's a 3-star running back, okay? He's committed to Miami. I mean, I'm excited to see this kid run and carry the football on Saturdays. But Drew Cripps for Alter, 11 carries, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns, the only touchdowns of the night, and that's the only 2 touchdowns that the Knights technically needed that night to knock off Fairmont for the second straight season in the battle of Kettering. They knock off Fairmont 14-7 in week 1. And then coming in at number 5 is Miamisburg quarterback Titus Bettendorf. Again, 3 rushing touchdowns on the night. They dominated Chaminade Julienne. They dominated CJ 44-14. He didn't have, big numbers through the air. He didn't have big numbers on the ground. But anytime you score 3 touchdowns, whether it's with your legs or through the air, that's a big performance. And I want to give a shout out to Miamisburg quarterback, again, Titus Bettendorf. Again, 3 rushing touchdowns on the night en route to defeating CJ in week 1's season opener. So there you go. Congratulations to those top 5 right there. And then I did have a late addition as well that's not on the graphic, but I do want to give a shout out out of the DPS. All right, how about Dayton Dunbar? Okay, Dayton Dunbar, they defeat Briggs 32-23 in week 1. But how about Nazir White? Okay, the quarterback for Dunbar. He completed 8 of his 16 pass attempts, all right, for 303 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's a heck of a performance right there. I want to give a shout out to Nazir White, 303 yards through the air, 5 passing touchdowns, and helping leading Dunbar to a 32-23 win over Briggs in week 1. Ulysses Porter, 9 catches for, 9 catches. He had 9 catches. I'm sorry, Nazir White had 4. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong category. I'm all over the place here. It was Ulysses Porter had 9 carries for 50 yards on the night. But again, for him to go out, Nazir White, and complete multiple passes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different receivers, spread the ball around, punching the ball in the end zone, 303 yards. Unbelievable performance from Nazir White, and Dayton Dunbar gets off to a 1-0 start. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday, 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or text to jump in on the conversation. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, all beds are on sale during our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe, plus free delivery on any mattress. Ends Monday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now is a great time to schedule a back-to-school dental appointment. Dr. Kyle Bogan, president of the Ohio Dental Association, is here to tell us more.
Your child's teeth and gums need the right food, nutrition, and vitamins to grow strong and stay healthy. Help them maintain good oral health by brushing every morning and night, flossing, visiting the dentist twice a year, and developing good eating habits. As kids head back to school, it's important to know that foods and drinks high in sugar, acidity, and other cavity-promoting substances are often low in nutritional value and have the potential to create plaque capable of damaging tooth enamel. A back-to-school dental appointment can diagnose any potential problems and improve your child's oral health. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state, are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and obtain superior ongoing education and training.